Please join me in welcoming our next representative for the state of Montana, Mr. Rob Quist.
Well, hey everybody, it's so good to be here in Bozeman again. I think that if this keeps up, I'm going to have to take up residence here. But you know, just looking back, I've just had such a great relationship with Bozeman over the course of my career. And I think one of my first experiences here is that I was playing basketball for my freshman year. I was playing basketball for the Grizzlies. Yeah, I know. Okay. And so we played over at the field house here, and my job on the basketball team was to, whenever the best shooter on our team fouled out, I would replace him. Well, I got into the game with 18 seconds left. Didn't get a shot off, and we lost by 3 points. If they just would have trusted me, we probably could have tied it up at least. And then, of course, you know, over the course of my career, I've gotten to play in the field house many times for different concerts with some great groups of my time frame. I think the last time I played a concert there, I actually opened for Tim McGraw, so that was pretty fun. That was a good one. But anyway, it's just so good to be here today. You know, for those of you who don't know me, I come from Cut Bank. I was raised as a rancher farmer's son in Cut Bank, and that's where I grew up, and I learned all those great lessons that you learn in a farming community. But most importantly, though, I am a product of Montana public education. Yeah. You know, I went to a little country school over down. It was called Winkler Superior School, and I think that I actually wrote a song about it on my Honor Bound album. And we were having a sort of a all-class reunion, and so I got a chance to write the song about you know, going out to a country school. But it was a great country school. You know, sometimes, you know, I think when you have these country school educations, they turn out to be the very best thing, especially for me in the music department, because we had one of these really old school music teachers. Her name was she was like really old country. Her name was Mrs. Dornbos. And of course, at that time, the question wasn't, are you going to be in the orchestra? The question was, what are you going to play? And so, of course, at that time, I got to play many different instruments, a pump organ, and also cello and trombone. And then, of course, when she retired, the next teacher that came in was more focused on singing. But anyway, I think one of the most important things that the state and federal government could do is to support our system of public education. And I'm a proponent of that, because I think that nothing is more important than giving every Montanan the chance to succeed, you know, as every Montana student as well. That's a pretty clear contrast to my opponent in me. Mr. Gianforte, he's led the charge to privatize schools, and he's called public schools a monopoly, and the groups that he's a part of have questioned the very existence of public schools, calling it a failed experiment. You know, he even proposed a tax plan last year that would have taken away $33 million from local schools to give tax breaks to guess who? The wealthy and out-of-state corporations. Does this sound familiar? Yeah. He's even encouraged parents to move their children out of public schools, and he claims that it's a myth that public schools need more resources. He's out of touch with Montana, and we just can't afford to send him to Congress. Yeah. Rob Quist. You know, just like most issues, Washington, D.C. does not have all the answers when it comes to educating our kids. And, you know, how we do things in rural districts is really different than how things are done in big cities. And that's why we need to make sure that our lawmakers in Washington and in Helena are listening to parents and teachers and administrators on the local level to make sure we're doing the best for our kids. And in rural America, we need to recruit and retain quality teachers and administrators. You know, we need to take a look at loan forgiveness and scholarships for people who want to become teachers and administrators and who will commit to working in rural communities. John Tester has introduced a bill about that, where you can have $17,500 of your college debt forgiven if you become a teacher in a rural area. And so it's programs like this that we need to institute to bring quality education to our rural communities. Woo! 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 Yeah. The education reform bill that Congress recently passed reduced the testing burden on students to make some inroads to increasing local control. But we need to make sure that this is implemented properly. And lastly, we need to make sure that attending college is more affordable so that Montanans can access quality education.
Yeah!
You know, I think one of the biggest things facing college students today is the issue of college debt.
Yes.
You know, I think the average student gets out of college with $37,000 in debt. To me, these loans are nothing more than predatory, and we have to change this. You know, my own kids are just saddled with all kinds of college debt, and I think that these are the type of loans that you pay on them, and you pay on them, and they don't go down, they just go up. You know, this is not right. You know, imagine if you have $37,000 in college debt. If you pay on that for $300 a month, imagine how long that's going to take to pay off. This is wrong. This is fundamentally wrong. Also, my opponent stands with DC politicians and the special interests that want to cut Pell Grants and make it even harder for students to pay a loan. This is unacceptable. Right in time.
Yeah.
Everybody dance? That's why this race is just so crucial. And we can't have out-of-state billionaires and millionaires thinking that they know better than Montana parents and teachers on how to educate our kids. And this is the kind of leadership that I plan to bring to Montana's independent voice in the House of Representatives. And I've said many, many times before, this is not the Millionaires Club. This is the U.S. House of Representatives.
Rob Quist! 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 Rob Quist!
You know, every time I come to Bozeman, it always blows my mind. You guys have been so great. You can tell I'm losing my voice, but we've only got about 30 days left of this election cycle, right? So I can do this, you know. I'm being buoyed by a great blue wave across the state of Montana. We're having such support wherever we go, and I just want to thank you for turning out today. But today, more than ever, we must stand and make our voices heard, and we must stand up and hold our leaders accountable. And so when you cannot stand, I will stand for you. And when you feel like your voices are being drowned out by critics and bullies and multi-billionaires, I'm going to stand behind this microphone to make your voices heard. It's going to be my great honor to serve the people of the Big Sky. Thank you so much for turning out. Stand with me, Montana, and I will stand up for you. Thank you.